All right, Lori, I'm gonna own it. I effed up. I effed up when we started talking about how we wanted to go to market, and we started talking about doing some live streaming stuff. We talked about putting together content, and we talked about the construct of the podcast, which is one that I own. I introduced because of my past, because of the B2B revenue executive experience and all the success we had with that podcast. And I brought a pattern of the podcast, the structure of the podcast, feeling comfortable and safe. And I said, all right, well, let's just do a podcast. And we are like, okay, cool. And we recorded the intro, which is still up, won't be for long. And then we recorded 2 episodes that upon review, we both just agree sucked. And we had multiple dry runs all in this construct of this podcast, and it didn't work. It wasn't us. It wasn't what we wanted to do. And so true to our focal point of owning our crap and then pivoting where needed, we've decided to pivot. So I wanted to start there by saying I'm sorry that I brought that pattern, but I'm a big enough person to say that it sucked, and I love the new direction.
First of all, there's no need to apologize. It just what is what Chad and I were doing is we've been in business for a long time. So we're like, all right, this is the list you have to make. This is your go-to-marketing plan, and you have to follow your go-to-marketing plan. Well, it turns out the shit that inspires us, right? Or the stuff that inspires us is actually not those lists of sticking to the plan. Instead, where Chad and I really feel that we excel is in delving into, I don't know, the curious way that human beings operate, right? And I think like over the weekend, I saw a couple of shows at Red Rocks, which is an amazing venue and pretty darn good for reminding you of what's important, just because of the beauty of it, right?
In the world.
Yes. And I feel like what kept coming up for me was play, right? Like we have to go through and realize that Chad and I want to make money. We want to really affect the way the world looks at AI, and we're not going to do that by preaching.
Well, and I think, this is us drinking our own Kool-Aid. Like nobody's got the right answer. You have to assess what you're doing. And for us, it is processing in public, thinking in public, being wrong, admitting we're wrong, playing with these concepts, thinking about what's possible. And so I think the conversation that we just had previously, that will be one of the episodes or parts of the episode, whatever it is, that concept of play was so important. And I think as we were going back and forth over the weekend, the concept of the playground kind of came up. Right. And so for us, hey, if you're tuning in and you're expecting like your normal old podcast, like, this is going to have this format and it's going to be this at this point and this at that, this ain't the right place to be. Right. We're going to have conversations. We're going to basically record us processing with and coming to potentially some conclusions or asking questions we don't have the answers to, pointing out and leveraging our experiences where it makes sense, but learning from each other, evolving in real time, and applying that in the business. And at some points, we'll do some other episodes or something that ties it back to the business. But for the playground episodes, that's what we're going to do. We're just going to riff. We're going to play, and we're going to share where we're at today, because it's not going to be where we're at tomorrow. Is that fair, Lori?
Well, it's super fair, and we get to make the rules because guess what? It's our lives. So let's do it. And with that, I want to ask you a question then, Chad, right? Going off of we do better with what really inspires us. So tell me, if you were to think about play and bringing that to the world in, helping leaders stay relevant, helping leaders take advantage of AI, tell me how, maybe your top couple things that really come to mind when you talk about play in the workspace and what, just in the marketplace overall.
Well, I mean, so I think back, right? I think back to all the positions and the times in organizations or run my own company or whatever it is that I was having the most fun was when I was the most productive, when I was the most impactful, are all directly related to when I was having fun, when it felt like play, where it was engaging and not always safe. There's always a little element of risk. I like being on the edge a little bit more than some people, right? But for me, it was that sense of creation, connection, the shared evolution, or getting new insights and new ideas, and thinking about how it could change me and make me better. That was fun. And I'm not. Hey, I'm lucky. I'm at a point in my life where I don't have to work for anybody if I don't want to. So if I want to still have a positive impact, which we both agree is really important, it's kind of a driving force for me and for you both. I want to do it and have a damn good time doing it. Like, we said on the website, welcome to the party. Well, those first two podcasts were not welcome to the party. That was
They were
like,
a very formal party, but we're a little bit more playful and want to play with energy. When you were talking, I want to ask you, so Chad and I both had the luxury of working at some of the first experience agencies back in 2007, 2008. And I remember, like you said, I remember being up till midnight
yeah.
trying to solve problems, not because anybody was telling us to or there was a deadline to hit, but because we had gotten so into like such a meaty, juicy problem that we happened to have the right people. And because, people would come and go, let's say we were brainstorming in a conference room, people would come and go. But it was interesting to see who stayed and who really wanted to like just solve that problem more than anything for whatever our customers problem we're doing. So I just agree. I agree with you that play is so important. Like when we play, our brains are literally wired to become more efficient because they want more reward. So having tasks that suck and feel humdrum or agendas to follow that really don't make sense to everyone involved, yeah, they're just not as much fun. But I don't know. I like the idea of play.
Well, that whole concept, like we were talking, like the concept of the playground, right? So what you're going to experience if you listen to this is put yourself back. Remember going to a playground. Remember going to some place where there were groups of kids or whatever around. And you walk up to the slide and you all of a sudden are in the middle of a conversation. Like somebody was talking about something, maybe they were talking trash about somebody else or whatever. But there's something, you walk into the conversation, and then when you're bored, you walk away from the conversation. That's exactly what's going to happen with this stream of, I think, of our exploration. Some of the episodes could be an hour. Some could be 5 minutes. We're just going to take the conversations. We're going to play. We're going to set ourselves and give ourselves space so that we can kind of recreate that. Hey, what's going on over here? Oh, no, I don't like that. I'm going to jump over here. What's going on over here? So we're just going to flow with it. Just see where it takes us. And I'm more excited about this than, and I kind of was excited about doing a podcast, but that was me hanging on to something from the past. Like, it has to be this way, or the construct itself means this. No, it does not. It means whatever the hell we want it to mean, and however the hell we want to do it. I think this is just going to be a hell of a lot more fun.
So going back to the playground, do I get to talk about playing marbles and getting the big steelies and that I did in second grade?
You know what? We've got a big jar of marbles downstairs that we were told are collector's items. I didn't know. I mean, I guess people collect marbles. I don't know. They're absolutely stunning. I will say that. They're absolutely beautiful pieces of art. I don't know how old they are. They're probably 50, 60 years old. But very cool. And yeah, absolutely. You want to talk about playing marbles? We can talk about playing marbles. Like,
I'm just
we'll
kidding. I'm
bring
just
it back
thinking
to
of the things
business.
that like light me up. And it's really funny because we don't give space in our daily lives for just really thinking about what lights us up. But the idea of play is really good because we're actually, as human beings, the way we operate is we actually want play. It's why people are such sports fanatics, right? Like, because that actually makes us better human beings and allows us to deal with stuff that's stressful that we don't like doing when we do incorporate play into ourselves. Do you think that when we talk about play, do you think that part of this could also be a narration as we learn and grow, that we could also, brainstorm and think about ideas. Maybe some of the topics we cover are things of, how do you give yourself more space so that you can actually focus on the things you like, which would be play. Tell me what you're thinking about this podcast. Like, what would you like to bring to everybody?
I'm going to go back to that concept of, as we go through this journey, we want it to be fun. And I don't know where any episode will go. What we do know about ourselves is you and I will continue between recording sessions. We will continue to read. We will continue to have other conversations. We will continue to consume multiple sources of information to feed our head. And all we have to do is create some space for us to process that together. What that looks like, no freaking clue. The one thing I think we will do is because of just who we are, we'll constantly tie it back to business. We'll constantly tie it back to leadership, what it means to show up in the workplace, to be relevant. I want to get rid of some of the old constraints that everybody expects. And not only in the way it's consumed, but the way we create it. Because I completely remember, I got to that point with the B2B revenue executive experience where after 3 years, the format, I knew it like the back of my hand. I was not always cognitively engaged. I went through the motions, and that's when it becomes drudgery. And I don't want that. This is too much fun. The opportunity before us because of generative AI and other advances in technology is too big. And the beauty of it is it moves so fast that by the time we do the next recording, end of this week or next week or whatever it is, so much new shit will have come out that there'll be more than enough to talk about.
I know. I'm so excited about that. Like, it is really just delving into AI and then looking how the human, we are a machine. We have a human operating system and we run patterns, right? Just as who we are. We have a whole nervous system that's amazing. And we're really like complex artists. And I'm kind of excited about the different topics and just really being honest and authentic with ourselves about what excites us and what doesn't. And knowing that it doesn't have to excite everybody. And you may skip to different episodes or different topics that you like, but the idea that we can just go in and have opinions on things sounds like fun. And at the same time, I hope it's a narration. I hope that we start looking at how do we break down some of the internal barriers that we've set for ourselves and give space for new ways of working. Much like the Barbie movie did, let's narrate a new way of working.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see where it takes us. Hope you all will join us for the journey. Not 100% sure where it will go, as we've said. But I guess we can just wrap this one up with saying, hey, welcome to the playground.
Welcome to the playground, everyone. Let's have some fun.